Hey guys, in this video, my friends Paul and Sean, we are going to talk about retirement in the Philippines. Stick around. All right, so Paul and Sean, I appreciate you guys hanging out today. And I know you, Sean, you just did a video about moving to Cebu from Dumaguete, and that'll kind of tie into retirement here. But as far as a retirement destination, when you guys came out here, did you have a location already picked out? Like you knew exactly where you were going to go? We'll start with Paul.
Well, with me, my viewers know this, I made the mistake of watching a lot of vloggers. Not that that's a mistake, but they're all from Duma.
Don't tell them that.
They're all from Duma. So I knew all the stuff about Duma, so I almost felt like Duma was home before I even moved there.
Right.
And that was an issue. But I moved actually by chance to Cebu first because I couldn't find a place that I liked to live in Duma. So I stayed in Cebu for about 2-3 months in Mabolo, which was very close to Ayala. We're talking 10 minutes walk to Ayala.
Right.
And it was okay, but the condo sucked because it was so noisy. There's Koreans living there. And
nothing against
Koreans, but they have a tendency to be louder than the average American, which is, that's their culture. It's okay. So but they also have a lot of kids running around and all that. So So it wasn't like the perfect place to live, and plus the traffic and the pollution. So I decided to go ahead and move to Duma because of that. Mm-hmm. I actually evaluated Bohol also, but I had my mind set on Duma. It was like so set on Duma. So I moved to Dumaguete. So that's how I ended up in Duma.
Okay. So for me personally, a job chose my location. I ended up in Cebu City because of the job. So mine was pretty straightforward. And Sean, yours was actually chosen because of girl, right? I mean, was the location, or did you have a location in mind?
Well, I came here to Cebu City. I was in Cebu City for about 2 months.
Because she was in Cebu City.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's from Cebu, right?
Yeah, southern Cebu.
Southern Cebu.
But
okay.
What the plan was is that, I'd done the same thing you had done. Watched other vloggers talk about Dumaguete.
By the way, I'll interrupt real quickly. I met Paul and Sean both through my vlog. We became friends. So.
Yeah, and Dumaguete.
All right, go ahead.
But really what the plan was to have Dumaguete like a home base.
Okay.
I wasn't planning on going to be there more than 2 weeks out every month. We were going to travel. That was the plan, and then COVID hit. So I wanted to travel different parts of the Philippines to figure out where I felt the most comfortable.
Yeah.
And like I said, COVID hit, and
lockdown.
This is the first time that I've been able to leave the island and come back to Cebu since I got here.
Now, I guess both of you guys, would you say that the way we did it, or maybe not me in particular because the job chose the city for me, but you guys in particular, would you advise other guys coming out here for retirement to follow that same path, or find a location based really off of healthcare and amenities and different things, and then...
To me, it would depend on what your medical condition is, how old you are. If you're an older person, Dumaguete's really not the place for you. You want to be in a bigger city, Davao, Cebu City, Cagayan de Oro, something that has some semblance of Western medicine there.
Okay.
To where you think you can get decent health care.
So, Paul, what about you? The way you chose it, would you... if you could do it again, what would have you based your decision on as far as where to go?
Well, when I first came out here, I had no intentions of retirement. I was just on a non-compete, and I decided while my non-compete was going on, I would just stay here instead of stay in the U.S. and enjoy my time off and go back to work. So, but if I could redo it, I would probably start off in Cebu City and then spend a couple of months there, then go 2 months somewhere else, then go 2 months, just to get a feel of the whole of the Philippines. Because I think no matter how much you watch vloggers from a certain city, you really are not going to get a feel for that city until you've lived there. And just because
Sure.
I like a city and show you all the nice things and you think, oh, that's what I want, when you come here you might actually end up hating it, because there's
Right.
certain things that you can't pick up on a vlog, and there's certain things you don't
For sure.
probably don't know about yourself. Like there's a lot of stuff we don't know about ourselves when we come here.
Right.
And you know, people like Duma, for example, because some people like Duma because there's a lot of foreigners, so they feel they can socialize. They
It
don't
feels
feel
almost
lonely,
safe, right?
feel safe, you
Yeah.
know. And other people are more adventurous. They want to go somewhere where there's hardly any foreigners. They want to
Right.
go somewhere where it's nature. So I think you have to really think it through, and that's something I really didn't do, and I kind of regret that. But you really have to think it through where you want to be. But then it's also dependent, like Sean says, on your health status. If you have had like a heart attack or you've had some health issues, you better be really careful. If you're in good shape, you work out, your cholesterol's low, you've had a calcium test of your arteries to make sure there's no buildup,
Yeah, you good.
no chance of a heart attack in the next few years, or very little chance. You know, you have to look at that kind of stuff and decide like what you're willing, because no matter where you live, you're taking a chance. Some places you're taking
Sure.
more chance than another, you know, based on traffic, based on healthcare, based on, because like Sean was saying earlier, like we like to go hiking.
Yeah.
We go hiking to these waterfalls in the middle of nowhere. If one of
Right.
us drops down, breaks a leg, or gets seriously injured, man, you're talking hours to get you back to. There ain't no helicopter coming to pick you up.
No,
You know,
no.
they're gonna carry you out of there with your leg hanging down and all that. So just
Right.
be aware of that kind of stuff here in the Philippines. Don't expect Western standard healthcare, care, and all that stuff. You're not gonna get it here. So you have to be aware. The closest you can get is, I would say, Cebu City and Manila. Those.
That's a good point. You could be bit by a green viper. There's that deadly poisonous viper here. You could fall, break your leg, and you know you're probably screwed, man. You're probably screwed.
You know, I've never been overcautious about anything in my life until I moved here, because you get out of the way from civilization, so to speak, and you get hurt. There's a good chance, depending on the severity, there's a good chance you're not going to survive it.
Right.
So, I mean, that's something you have to look at. The other thing is, what kind of person are you? Are you an older person that likes to sit at home and watch TV all the time and watch the sun come up and the sun go down on your patio with a cup of coffee?
Right.
Or are you somebody that likes to go out and get on a motorcycle and travel around and see different places?
Yeah.
You know, if you're the first type of person that, you know, hardly ever leaves home, then Dumaguete or Valencia would be a perfect place for you. But if you want to get out and do stuff, you need to be somewhere that's more centrally located, that has good infrastructure, that has a lot of things to do.
That's the one thing I like about Mactan Newtown is I don't always want to get on my motorbike and drive 15 minutes to go get a cup of coffee at the coffee shop. Or if
we walk 4 minutes out of our
4 minutes,
condo and
yeah.
we're at the coffee shop.
Walking, not
Yeah,
driving,
exactly.
walking.
and Paul and I think we had our bikes parked for like a week at one
Was it a
point. A week.
We
And-
didn't use the bikes. We just
Didn't
went
use-
to the store and we went to get coffee
Yeah.
and we went swimming.
Look at how many cars and I don't know about your parking garage, but my parking garage, and they've got half an inch of dirt on them and the tires are half flat because
Yeah.
the car hadn't been driven in 6 months.
I think those are people who have condos and have cars and are working somewhere else.
Probably OFWs.
Well, I was
Yeah.
walking out this morning, a guy had taken the car cover off his SUV and cranked it up and just sitting there let it run to charge the battery.
Right.
We'll put the cover back on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
you know, having a vehicle around here,
Right.
if you were going to do a lot of traveling and stuff, I'd recommend that.
Yeah.
But seeing all the cars that are just parked in the parking
So-
structures that never get moved,
You know,
The other thing I'd like to mention
Mhm.
before we go on to the next question is we talked about healthcare and retirement here. The other thing to consider also, if something does happen where you have to leave, Cebu has an international
Yeah.
airport with direct
Yes.
flights to the US, direct flights to Europe. So
Right.
that's something to consider, really. That's really something to consider, because if you're in Duma, you got to use a day to get, not a day, but it takes, by bus it takes 6-7 hours if this happens during the bus time.
yeah, and
Pre-pandemic,
you have to get
right?
on a bus being hurt.
Yeah.
And even when the pandemic was going on, the people who actually wanted to leave and go back to the States or Europe or wherever, if they weren't in Cebu or by a major airport, it was a pain to get a sweeper flight out.
All the restrictions, all the.
But I'm talking pre-pandemic, because sooner or later this is
right,
gonna end, right?
But I'm just saying that's an example of like being a pain. You know, they weren't near it, and they're getting canceled flights. Yeah. And if you're by an international airport, if some emergency or something happens, it's much easier to. Yeah.
Well, the other thing too is that, you know, Malaysia being such a, you know, they got training hospitals that even Westerners go to learn specialties.
Right.
Malaysia's what, a 4-hour flight from here?
Not even that. I think it's only,
you know,
2-3 hours.
If things open back up and I really seriously got hurt, I'd be on a plane going to Malaysia to a hospital there. I wouldn't get on a 15-hour plane flight to go back to the States.
Right.
I'd want to go somewhere and get it taken care of like that.
Yeah, Thailand, Malaysia are known for medical tourism. Also, I hear about people actually flying into Guam sometimes too, if you're from the U.S. So.
Well, Guam has a Navy base there.
Navy base,
so,
yeah.
You know, I don't know, but I guess if I get seriously hurt, that.
Sure. So we got the medical aspects, and you guys are also saying, I agree on it. You shouldn't watch a vlogger and decide, oh, that's the place I'm going to live. You should maybe look at it as a consideration. That's it looks nice.
I'd pick a place I wanted to land, but I wouldn't. You know, I'd do an Airbnb for a month or something like that. I wouldn't commit to a 6-month or a year lease somewhere. I would, and during that month time, I would take a week trip here and there, and you know, you're going to be able to find out where you fit best.
Right. And I think tied to that is minimalism, right? Because if you're shipping all these buying boxes.
Why do you look at me when you say minimalism?
Well,
I got too much stuff.
He should be looking at me because I still have a lot of stuff in Dumagetti.
This guy's in the Philippines with a storage unit, right?
I've got a 2-bedroom apartment that's full of stuff.
The problem with me, not the problem, but one of the things is that I had to. I don't have relatives in the U.S., so all my engineering books, and I got a ton of engineering books, everything I owned and had, I mean, is basically in my storage room, which I didn't get rid of. And I got rid of like 95% of my stuff, so you can imagine.
Sure.
I mean, Americans know what I'm talking about. If you lived in a place for 25 years, you accumulate a lot of stuff. Every birthday, you're getting stuff. Every Christmas, you're getting stuff.
You could be there 5 years. You don't know how much stuff you have until it comes moving day.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh my God.
I want to be a minimalist, and as soon as I've made a decision that I'm not going back to the West, I haven't made that decision yet. I've talked about maybe going to Norway. I've talked about maybe going to the Middle East or the U.S. if job openings give me a chance to go work again. If that happens, I'll need my books. I need to read. I haven't worked for 2 or 3 years. I need to get it back into the system. But I'm in a transition. So, but I agree with you. Minimalism is the way to go, man. Minimalism is absolutely the way to go if you're going to live in the Philippines, especially if you're adventurous. Now, if you're coming here and you want to get like a place and you want to settle down like you're talking about, you're the type who wants to write a book and stay in the same place, know the people around you, is minimalism the thing for you? Probably not. But if you are an adventurous and you want to go to different places, see different places, I think minimalism is the way to go, because really one thing, sorry, I don't mean to override everybody, but one thing I've noticed living here is, coming from the US, we think it's all materialism, right? What does your neighbor car have? How big is your house? How everything? But you come here and you realize it's not about the stuff, it's about the people. I have had so much more fun here. I've been so much happier here. Just, like us guys, just having a coffee together, going out, having coffee, relaxing, chilling. It's not about, the type of crystal glass you have at home or the type of car you have at home. Who gives
your new
rat's
granite
ass? As long as the car gets you from A to B, who gives a shit?
Your new granite countertops, which I before I left, I was installing hardwood floors in my townhome, granite countertops, and I'm like, why? Spending all this money just to impress your neighbors.
The one thing I can say after moving here is, and getting rid of most everything I owned before I got here, your mindset changes when you get here, you realize that all those things that you had in the States or in the Western countries are not important. You're not. Too many people equate their self-worth to the things that they own, the things that they accumulate.
Right.
You know, here you accumulate memories.
Well, that's what
You
people
know,
look back at. You look back
photographs
at,
of you doing things.
Yeah.
It's not having a big car or a big house or
Right.
you know, keeping up with the Joneses, so to speak. You just live life and try to live it to the fullest and have as much fun as you can for the rest of the time that you have left.
By the way, 5-minute walk from Mocktown, Newtown to the beach here. So.
Yeah.
Great. And you know, it's a private beach. Not right now because they opened it up to the public, but
But it will be.
after or post-pandemic, it's just going to be for the people that live in the condos here. So
I think you started saying when you look back, what were you saying about that?
When you look back, your fond memories are not like, that 70-inch TV I bought, or it's places you've went, people you've met. It's not tied to any purchase or possession that you own.
I got a $100,000 car that is depreciating every day that is sitting in the garage here. You know,
Right. So-
Yeah, I think when you look back in life, I completely agree with you. It's the social interaction. It's those moments. I mean,
Right.
I look back at my life. I never think, about the car I drove or the house I lived in. It's like being with friends, doing stuff.
Well,
having fun. The stupid moments, that were embarrassing at the time, but you look back at and you laugh
Yeah.
at. Those
but-
are the things that make life worth living.
But tie that into dating in the West. I don't know whether you felt this, but I always felt that you had a better chance of dating the girl that you saw yourself with if you had a nice house,
Yes.
a nice condo, or if you were driving a freaking car that was just badass, you had a nice motorcycle. You equated your self-worth to the person you wanted to be with from the stuff that you had accumulated.
But that's hypergamy.
Yeah, but you that's the way people are geared in the
Right.
West, though.
But if you-
It's like, okay, if I've had all these nice things, maybe she'll like me.
If you take a date in the West, it's almost like an interview, right? She wants to know what kind of car you drive, what's your job, do you
Yeah.
own a house? It's really almost like a job interview. In here, it's not.
That's because she's
It's not-
evaluating
not
how much
really.
money you make. as
Okay,
to,
I'm not usually the guy who defends Western women, as you all well know. People who watch my channel know this.
We're gonna
But
edit.
I'm-
We'll edit this part
Yeah,
out.
this part out.
I'm actually going to defend them a bit here
Okay,
because
let's hear it.
because what you're talking about is hypergamy, okay? And women in nature are hypergamous by nature. That's just something innate in them because of what happens, because of thousands of years, that's the way they secure their children, to make sure that the guy they're going to be with or have a baby with has enough resources to make that child come up, or even have so much resources to make that child elevated, right?
I agree with that.
That
So-
includes a
so-
Mercedes and granite countertops.
no, but that's just a reaction in them. And you say girls are not like that here, but in a way they are, because they see a white guy. They don't necessarily think, oh, he has a condo, he has a motorbike, whatever. But they equate a foreigner with
Being rich.
security.
And being rich.
It's not necessarily money. It's just security. It's security.
But I've also run
but they-
across some
but-
that just want a mixed baby too.
Yes, and they
So-
equate that with DNA. They're getting a better baby. So
And
they,
it's a status
they
symbol.
are in a way they've already done the interview. Okay, you're getting a girl that's over here and you're over here. They don't need to interview. But in the West, you have a girl that's here and maybe you're here. They're going to interview you. They want to make
Right,
sure
right.
who you are. And you must remember this. So, I mean, Filipinos are wonderful girls, don't get me wrong, in every way possible. And I think they're much better than Western girls in every way possible. But I wouldn't say that. I mean, that's well, I said what I want to say. No.
I don't want to lump all the Western girls into one
Yeah.
category because it's not
I
true.
do. I'm just kidding.
just the ones that
Joke.
just the ones that wander around Walmart.
But I mean, you've got gold diggers in every society. It doesn't matter where you're from.
Right.
But to me, here the girls in the Philippines are just more genuine. They're more friendly. I mean, when you
For sure, more friendly, more fun.
If you're
Now
walking,
there, I would agree with you. They are more fun. It's
more
like
friendly,
It's like
open.
Gio says, they're more friendly. Like if you flirt with a girl, and she has absolutely no interest with you, she'll kind of flirt back or reject you in a very nice way. If you flirt with a girl in the U.S. and she doesn't have any interest with you, and she's kind of a bitchy, and a lot of them are.
it's like the dagger's
It's
eyes
like the
come out.
dagger's
Man. Why
eyes.
are you
She'll say
talking to me?
something snippy to you,
Yeah.
or why the hell are you talking to me? Who do you think you are? I'm too good for you. You know, it's that
Well,
kind of.
And they'll embarrass you with their girlfriends around.
Yeah, they'll
just
try to
because
embarrass you
they'll
because they think it's
funny.
fun.
Yeah.
Well, the
You
other
know,
thing
and
too
then
is-
they wonder
But
where
here-
have all the good men gone? Away from
Here-
you.
Here you're walking and you just say hello, and they say hello back.
Yeah.
In the States, I get the feeling that
Nobody
if you,
says hello
see a
anymore.
girl and you say hello to them, they immediately go to, he wants to sleep with me. That's all he wants from me. And that's not true. I mean, you could just want to be friends and talk.
Just want to be friendly to people.
Yeah.
Right.
Smile and have fun.
Yeah.
Those
And this
days
is one thing I love about the Philippines.
It takes a lot less
People
energy
like
to be
to have
nice
fun
than it does to be an ass. Like the guy blowing that horn there.
We get a blooper reel on this video too. So okay, so we kind of transitioned into dating, but let's kind of get back into retirement. But cost of living is a big factor. Now, I personally don't think the Philippines is as cheap as everyone makes it out. You know, when I came here, I really was under this impression that, oh, it's going to be just dirt cheap.
Yeah.
But it's not as, you know, a Starbucks coffee costs the same as a Starbucks coffee, right?
exactly. Yeah.
And
No. It's actually
Yeah, it's
cheaper.
$5.
Not much. No, it's not.
It's a
fun.
couple of dollars cheaper.
I don't know. Well, it's been so long since I've been
Starbucks
back.
is
I
what, like
couldn't tell you.
200 pesos? So
If you go in the US,
it's
you
a
get
dollar
a
cheaper.
coffee latte in the US Starbucks large. It's like $7.
$7?
Yeah, here it's what?
I don't
$3,
think so.
$4. It's a $2,
Well,
$3
it's about
cheaper.
$4.
Okay, we'll let the viewers tell us how much is a Starbucks
In the
large
States.
in the States, because here it's about $4.
Yeah.
So we'll see in the
Yeah.
comments.
And
But,
I hate Starbucks. You know,
but I'm just using them as an example.
Yeah.
It's just any coffee shop. But so cost of living, like I honestly found Vietnam, Malaysia, and Thailand to be a little less expensive, but for the same level of living.
yeah, because you've been there. You say the infrastructure is a whole lot better in Thailand and Malaysia because
In
of the
Vietnam.
build quality.
Well, I can
But
I can give you from my perspective. The cost of living here, if you take health insurance into account, you're talking probably a third to a half of what it is in the US.
right,
I spend about $1,500. Okay, I don't have health insurance, so add $100, so that's $1,600, and that is for me and Mia. Say $2,000 for me and I and Mia, me and Mia, Mia and I.
Me and I.
Say
Hello,
$2,000
Mia.
maximum a month, and we
good.
have a really good lifestyle here. Okay, in the U.S. I mean, when I was working, I had a company car. They paid for the fuel. They paid for health insurance. I used $1,500, and that was just, you know, nothing type of living. I mean,
right.
so
That's
the
your-
cost
that's
of
your
living
house,
here
your place of living, and food.
is cheaper, but I haven't been to Vietnam or Malaysia or Thailand, but I've heard from you and other people, infrastructure is better, it's cheaper, the food is better, so there's that. But the Philippines is, I think if you have a $1,500 to $2,000 budget here, plus 20 or 25K in reserve, you have a good life here.
But
A
you
good
need-
life here.
20 to 25K US.
US,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm talking US
But you
dollars.
need to
yeah.
have that 1,500 at least coming in every month
Yeah.
without a hiccup.
Right.
I don't understand some of these guys. You get these vloggers that say, "Oh, you can live in the Philippines for $500 or $1,000."
You
That's-
can,
well-
but then you're living in a bamboo house.
Yeah, you're
Right.
living in a
No
hut
aircon.
somewhere in the province.
Ants and mice running
Yeah,
everywhere.
and you're eating all Filipino food because you're
That's
not
what you
eating-
want. Why not?
Yeah, you can. You can exist. You're not going to enjoy life here.
Yeah. You're
Right.
existing. You're not living.
Yeah.
Right. There's some people who do that, and I don't recommend it. And people argue all the time, say, "Well, I can live there for 500." Well, yeah, you can.
You can exist
You
here.
could live for 300 too.
Yeah,
Here.
you could.
Yeah.
But
You're going to
uh,
exist here. You're not going to have any fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I don't want to say because I don't know
Well,
other people, but
but-
because Filipinos have fun on a very low budget, right?
But they're grown
So-
up with this lifestyle.
right.
You
Yeah.
haven't, as a Westerner.
And the one thing you got to understand too is if you go from a Western diet to eating all Filipino food, it's going to mess you up inside. Your body is not geared to eat the same types of food that they have here.
It takes a while
It
to
takes
If you
transition.
go to 100% Filipino, it's going to mess you up.
Yeah.
Once you go Filipino, you never go back. All right. Well, with that, guys, we've been talking for a while. Questions, comments about retirement for any of us, check out Paul's Asian Adventure. Check out Sean doesn't have a channel.
Exactly. I
Don't
don't
check
need
out
one.
anything.
But I also like to mention
Yeah.
my girlfriend's channel.
Yes.
Yeah.
Filipina Life with Mia.
Mia, come around and say hello, please.
Come around, Mia.
She's hiding in the lurking in
She's
the
hiding.
background.
She's running the camera. She's our cameraman today.
Camera
so.
woman.
Camera woman.
Camera woman, excuse me.
Have to be politically
So
correct.
guys, check out Mia's channel at
Filipino Life with Mia.
Filipino Life with Mia. Thank you guys. See you guys next time. Bye.
Come on, groove it on. I said, baby, I know you're on a roll. Sweet honey, let's take it real.